I welcome you all in this session. As you are aware, in previous session we were discussing about hypothesis testing and we have worked out several examples using one tail test and two tail test. In today's session we will work out couple of more examples, but we will use Minitab software. So, let us get started. The first question is, an automobile manufacturer claims that a particular model gets 28 miles to the gallon. The Environmental Protection Agency, using a sample of 49 automobiles of this particular model, finds the sample mean to be 26.8 miles per gallon. So, what is the claim of the manufacturer? Manufacturer is saying that the model gives 28 miles to the gallon, but when Environmental Protection Agency selected 49 automobiles, the agency found that it is just 26.8 miles per gallon. Okay. From previous studies, the population standard deviation is known to be 5 miles per gallon. So, you have been given standard deviation of population. Could we reasonably expect that we could select such a sample if needed? The population mean is actually 28 miles per gallon. So, we have to test whether the automobile manufacturer's claim is true or not. So, you have to first of all frame null and alternative hypothesis. In fact, in this question you have not been given alpha value. So, if not given, you can assume it, let us say 0.05. In fact, I have taught you couple of methods in which you need not require even alpha value, is not it? You just use the z value for calculation of upper and lower limits, and then you should see whether the sample mean falls in those limits or not. In fact, we have seen confidence interval approach as well, wherein we need to see whether the hypothesized mean falls in confidence interval or not. So, in this question you need to have first of all null and alternative hypothesis, then the alpha value, of course, you can take this value here. The third one is you need to decide whether you would be using t test or z test. So, how do you think what would be the null and alternative hypothesis? So, you are supposed to frame first of all null hypothesis. So, I think you can easily frame null hypothesis, and the null hypothesis is this, right. So, let us say mean, population mean is hypothesized as 28 miles per gallon. What about alternative hypothesis? Would it be greater than type, would it be less than type, or would it be not equal to type? Just read this question once again. Could we reasonably expect that we could select such a sample if needed? The population mean is actually 28 miles per gallon. So, what you want here is you need to have your alternative hypothesis as not equal to 28. Okay. Since this is known now, you have to decide which test you would be using here. It is z test or t test. Keep in mind that we have always said that we will apply t test when there are two conditions met. First is standard deviation of population is unknown. What about this question? What about standard deviation of population? It is there? Yeah, it is there. Standard deviation of population is given is this 5 miles per gallon. So, this is known, and of course, sample size is also not equal to 30 or less than 30. So, sample size here is 49. So, n is equal to 49, population standard deviation is 5, sample mean is this, right, 26.8, and of course, hypothesized mean is 28. So, this is a case of one tail test or two tail test. It would be a case of two tail test, is not it, because this sign is not equal to sign. So, this is rejection region and this is another rejection region, right. So, this one is a two tail test example. So, let us solve this question using Minitab, right. So, we have noted down that n is 49, standard deviation is 5, sample mean is 26.8 and hypothesized mean is 28. Let us look at Minitab software. So, first of all, in this Minitab software there are two windows, two areas. So, this is one area wherein you would be getting answer, and this is your worksheet. The lower part of this is worksheet, right. So, let us look at how to use Minitab software. So, first of all, go to state, then you should go to basic statistics. After basic statistics, this one sample Z test, right. Why Z test? Because you have got sample size more than 30 and standard deviation of population is known as well. So, here you have got two options, one or more sample each in a column, or you can have summarized data. So, in this case we have been given summarized data, we have been given mean, we have been given population standard deviation. Otherwise, we would have we could have solved if there were raw data given to us without having any mean and standard deviation, right. So, we will click at summarized data. Once you click at summarized data, the first value to be entered over here is sample size. So, in this case our sample size was 49. Now, let us look at the sample mean. So, what was the sample mean? If you look at sample mean is 26.8, right. So, just enter 26.8 over here, right. Known standard deviation, yes, it is known. Let us look at standard deviation 5, right. So, standard deviation is 5. Then we have to perform hypothesis test, right. So, you need to click over here, right. Now, then hypothesized mean, you need to enter over here hypothesized mean, which is, we will go back to our example, which is 28, right. So, we will click at hypothesized mean and we will enter hypothesized mean over here. Now, we have to decide two more things here. The first is whether this test is left tail test or right tail test, or it is a two tail test, right. So, for that we need to go to options over here, then confidence level is 95%, right. So, we will write 95% over here. So, by default this is 95% over here, and alternative hypothesis is just the mean is not equal to hypothesized mean, and there are three options there, right. The first is mean is less than hypothesized mean, the second is mean is not equal to hypothesized mean, and the third one is mean is greater than hypothesized mean. So, in our question we will be using mean not equal to hypothesized mean, okay. So, you just click it over here, then OK again, and finally OK. Now, we will get the answer. Now, if you look at this, in this option, here we have a hypothesized mean as 28 versus this was our alternative hypothesis not equal to 28. Sample size was 49, mean 26.8. This is mean of sample, right? 26 is the mean, right? Standard error 0.714. So, how did we get standard error? It is sigma by root n, is not it? So, confidence interval is again you can get in this type of outputs. You will also get confidence interval which is 26.4 to 28.2. Z value is minus 1.68, right. So, p value is just look at this, p value is 0.093. Is p value less than alpha? P is 0.09, 0.093, right, and alpha was 0.05. Is p less than alpha? No. P is greater than alpha, so we will not reject null hypothesis. What is our condition? If p is less than alpha, null hypothesis has to go, it is to be rejected, right, otherwise we will not reject null hypothesis. So, what is our null hypothesis here? That the manufacturer's claim of 28 miles per gallon is correct, whatever he is claiming is true, we have not rejected his claim. So, that is our conclusion. Okay. Let us move on to second question. Computing world has asserted that the amount of time owners of personal computers spend on their machines averages 23.9 hours per week with a standard deviation of 12.6 hours per week. So, you have been given 23.9 hours with a standard deviation of 12.6 hours. A random sample of 81 subscribers revealed a sample mean usage of 27.2 hours. So, the hypothesized mean is H naught is equal to this 23.9, standard deviation is 12.6 and sample mean is this. On the basis of this sample, is it reasonable to conclude that computing world's subscribers are different from average personal computer owners? What do you think? What would be the null and alternative hypothesis here? And what would be the type of test? So, null hypothesis is this, H naught is equal to 23.9, standard deviation is there, sample mean is there and n is 41, is not it. So, you need to decide on whether you would be using t test or z test. Let us even decide that as well, right. So, you would be using z test, right, not the t test. Now, come to the alternative hypothesis, the most difficult part, and you would get the hint in question itself. Just read it. On the basis of this sample, is it reasonable to conclude that the computing world's subscribers are different from, it is not whether they are more or less than, right, it is just mentioned that are they different from average personal computer owners. So, it has to be H1 or HA has to be not equal to type 23.9. right, and null hypothesis would be 23.9, right. Now, you can solve this question again using Minitab. Let us look at this. So, go to stat, basic statistics, one sample Z test, one sample Z. Now, summarize data, just enter all those values. So, sample size is 81, sample mean is 27.2, 27.2, standard deviation is 12.6, hypothesized mean is 23.9. 23.9. We will go to options. We will test this hypothesis at in fact, we have not been given any alpha value. So, let us test it at again 95% significance level, and your alternative hypothesis would be mean is not equal to hypothesized mean. So, now you should press OK and OK. Let us look at output over here. This is your output. So, n is given, your sample mean is there, confidence interval is there, and p value is also there, right. So, p value is 0.018, is 0.018, 0.018 is the p value, and what is alpha value? 0.05. So, is p less than alpha? Yes, p is less than alpha. So, we will reject null hypothesis. And what is null hypothesis? Null hypothesis is this that computing world has asserted that the amount of time owners of personal computers spent on their machine is averages 23.9. So, this statement holds good, right. So, this hypothesis is not rejected. Okay. So, this is how you should work out questions using Minitab. Let us look at one more example. A grocery store has specially packaged oranges and has claimed a bag of oranges will yield 2.5 quarts of juice. After randomly selecting 42 bags, a stocker found the average juice production per bag to be 2.2 quarts. Historically, we know the population standard deviation is 0.2 quart. Using this sample and decision criterion of 1.96 standard error, could we conclude the store's claims are correct? So, what is the claim of store? The claim of this store is a bag of oranges will yield this much quarts of juice, 2.5 quarts of juice. So, this is your null hypothesis, right, is 2.5, right. And after randomly selecting 42 bags, so n is equal to 42, a stocker found the average juice production per bag to be 2.2 with a standard deviation of 0.2 quart. Using this sample and decision criterion of 1.96 standard deviation, could we conclude the store's claims are correct? So, what would be the null and alternative hypothesis? So, null is this, alternative hypothesis would be is not equal to 2.5. Okay. So, you can solve this question again using Minitab. So, go to state, basic statistics, one sample Z, okay. Then summarize data, then sample size, you need to look at sample size. So, sample size is 42, sample mean is 2.2, sample mean is 2.2, standard deviation is 0.2, 0.2. We need to perform hypothesis test and hypothesized mean is 2.5. So, this is 2.5, and in fact, we have been given this decision criteria of 1.96 standard error, which is 0.05 significance level, right. So, you can have again hypothesized mean is equal to hypothesized mean, and confidence level is 95%, right. So, just press OK, again OK. So, you will get this output where mean is given, sample size is given, standard error is given, confidence interval is given, p value is given, right. So, p value is 0, and what was our significance level? 0.05. So, p is less than alpha. So, we will reject null hypothesis. Since p is less than alpha, we will reject null hypothesis. And what is null hypothesis? We will reject null hypothesis, and we will what was null hypothesis? That a bag of oranges will yield this much quarts of juice. No, it will not result in yield in this much quarts of juice. So, this hypothesis is rejected. It would be either more than this or less than this. So, what it would be? It would be actually less than 2.5, because sample mean is 2.2 quarts, right. So, this is how you can work out one more question on hypothesis testing. Let us look at third question. Dr. Rose Darrow believes that nicotine in cigarettes causes cigarette smokers to have higher daytime heart rates on average than do non-smokers. So, smokers will have higher heart rate than non-smokers, right. He also believes that smokers crave the nicotine in cigarettes rather than just smoking for the physical satisfaction of the act, and accordingly that the average smoker will smoke more cigarettes per day if he or she switches from a brand with a high nicotine content to one with low level of nicotine content. So, smokers would like to switch from high nicotine content to low level of nicotine content. Suppose Rose knows that non-smokers have an average daytime heart rate of 78 beats per minute. This is for non-smokers, right. What are the appropriate null and alternative hypothesis for testing his first belief? So, what would be the null hypothesis? Of course, it is a simple one, it is 78, and alternative would be, so this is H naught, let me write it this way, H alternative would not be equal to 78, right. Would it be equal to, less than, or greater than? Suppose Rose knows that non-smokers have an average daytime heart rate of 78 beats per minute. What are the appropriate null and alternative hypothesis for testing his first belief? In fact, we will have to go back to the question. initially he said that he believes that the smokers have got more heartbeat than non-smokers. So, you will have to frame this alternative hypothesis not like this, but H alternative is greater than 78. Okay. Right. So, let us look at part B. For the past 3 months, he has been observing a sample of 48 individuals who smoke an average of 15 high nicotine cigarettes per day. 15 high nicotine cigarettes per day. He has just switched them to a brand with low nicotine content. State null and alternative hypothesis for testing his second belief. So, what would be the null and alternative hypothesis now? This is now 15, right. So, null hypothesis is H naught is equal to 15 and H alternative is greater than 15. Let us look at one more question. American theatres knows that a certain hit movie ran on average of 84 days in each city and the corresponding standard deviation was 10 days. The manager of the southern eastern district was interested in comparing the movie's popularity in his region with that in all of Americans other theatres. He randomly chose 75 theatres in his region and found that they ran the movie on an average this much. So, hypothesized population mean would be what is 84 days with a standard deviation of 10 days, sample size 75 theatres, sample mean 81.5 days. Now, we have to state appropriate hypothesis for testing whether there was a significant difference in the length of pictures run between theatres in his region as well as other theatres, right. So, it would be a very simple one. So, this your null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis would be is not equal to 84 days, right. So, we will work out this question using Minitab. So, we know that n is 84, standard deviation is 10. So, we will go to stat basic statistics, one sample z. So, sample size is 84, sample mean is 81.5, sample mean is 81.5, standard deviation is 10 and hypothesized mean is 84. No, the sample size is different, right. So, hypothesized mean is 84, we will see sample size once again, it is 75. This is 75, right. So, we will go to options, we will click at option, we will test at 95% itself, ok, click ok, again ok. Yeah. So, p is 0.03 which is less than alpha. So, we will reject null hypothesis, right. So, we will say that we will reject null hypothesis, it means the movie ran not 84 days, more than this or less than this, right. But our sample mean is 81 0.5 day, it means movie ran less than 84 days, right. Let us look at the second part of it. So, you can test this same hypothesis at 1% significance level. So, we will change the significance value for the same question. We will just change, yeah, this is now 99%. We will click at OK, OK. So, this is 0.03. So, 0.03 is the p value and alpha value is 0.01. Is p less than alpha? No. So, we will not reject null hypothesis. So, p is greater than alpha. So, we will not reject null hypothesis. So, at 1% significance level we will not reject null hypothesis, and at 95 we will reject null hypothesis. So, today we have worked out couple of questions using Minitab software. The software helps you in knowing answer very quickly. Only the point is you need to go for data entry properly, you need to understand the question properly, you need to write alternative hypothesis carefully, because your answer depends on how you are framing your alternative hypothesis or how correctly you are framing your alternative hypothesis. So, these are couple of questions we have seen on one sample test. In next class we will work out couple of examples on one sample test only, and if time permits we will take up some questions on 2 sample test as well. So, with this let me complete today's session. Thank you.